So this video is going to show you exactly how to become disciplined the exact same way that I am. And the reason I'm making this video is because I've had so many people tell me that they feel depressed, that they can't find the motivation to take action, that they want to make changes, but then they never end up doing it. And then 3 years have gone by and they're still looking for that same motivation. First and foremost, you need to understand that motivation is that spark that gets you started. But then discipline is that thing that keeps on going. But you need to break down what discipline is. Discipline is a trade-off. We like guarantees. Humans like knowing that there's an exchange for an exchange. You go to work and you get paid. You go to a shop, you give them your money, which is an exchange for time, and you get a bag, you buy fruits, whatever you trade it. The thing with discipline, most of the time, you have to do a trade where you don't get anything in return for some time. And we are scared of that unknown. We as humans, we want guarantees. But the moment you realize that the only guarantee in this life is that one day you will take your last breath, then everything will start to make sense. You need to understand the very simple concept of learning to control the things that you can control and stop being controlled by the things that you can't. Because most of the time we are controlled by the things that we can't. This is why you overthink, this is why you have anxiety, and this is why you have depression. Because you're living in every single time frame rather than the one that only exists, which is the now you watching this video and being able to do something. One thing with discipline is most of the time what we end up doing is we want this outcome, we want this desired outcome. We want to have a physique, we want to grow 1 million followers on Instagram. We want to grow our business to $85,000 a month. These are outcomes that you can't control. You can control the action that then compounds to give you that result. Most of the time, we validate ourselves with that result, that we keep on doing the action and we're expecting, okay, now this is our break. Now it's going to happen. Now it's going to happen. So we are validating ourselves with the outcome, with everything that we do. That's why you end up feeling that sense of frustration, and that's why you can't keep on going. That's why you can't play the long run. That's why you end up giving up. Because in reality, in this life, you can never lose unless you decide to give up. You either win and you learn. And the only way you can keep on going is if you fall in love with the process. And this took me the longest amount of time to understand. And I want you to take this from the end of this video. Okay? You need to validate yourself with the actions that get that result. Because the second you validate yourself with that, then every day you will focus on trying to do the action that will get the outcome. Look, I've got this ambitious goal of making 1 million followers, to reach 1 million followers and to make $85,000 a month. So this is the end result that I want. But the thing is, if I keep on going and I don't see it next week, next month, then I'll end up getting frustrated because I've validated myself with this result. This is the outcome that we want. This is a GPS that we put on our device. I want you to imagine that you want to get to this destination. So you don't know how to get there. So you put on your phone Google Maps and you put destination. So now all of a sudden you don't think about that place because you already know the destination is set. So all you have to do is drive. In this case, the driving is the daily actions that you have to do to get there. But on the way, you have obstacles, roadblocks. So what do you end up doing? You still want to go to that destination. So when you get a roadblock, you just make sure diversion. So you find a different route. It might take slightly longer, but you're still going that way because you've already put it in your mind that you want to get there. So you keep on driving, there's another roadblock, then you find another way, you have a puncture in your tire, and it gets quite frustrating. And this is the part when people validate themselves with the result and they don't have it, they give up. So what do? They put on a different direction. So they go towards that different direction and they have the same problems again. And they're in a constant cycle of going to new directions that they end up going nowhere. Why? Because they haven't stayed consistent with one. Why? Because they have lacked discipline. This is the point I'm trying to make you understand, that with every journey, there will be obstacles, there will be punctures, there will be so many things that will end up blocking your way. But you've already have it set. But if you focus on making sure you put one foot in front of the other, this is the thing that you validate yourself on. Because most of the time, we suffer in our mind more than we will ever do in reality. You take an action and then you start making these unlimited branches of different scenarios that can happen. And then you start to suffer, oh, but what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? So now you're feeling the emotions as if it has already happened, that it stops you from taking action. This is what causes anxiety, because now we are stuck in the future in a time frame that has never existed and will probably never exist. And these things that we think about are most of the time negative. And then when we get there, we end up getting this frustration and we think, oh yeah, we're gonna get it because we're looking for that guarantee. And then we go to the past. What could have I done? What should have I done? And then you start to blame yourself, and now you're living in between time frames of the future, then you're living in time frames of the past, of things that you can never change, and that we are not going that way, that the only thing we have is the future. So then we're now in past, future, that you forget that right now that future that you want is created by a compound of actions. The second you realize that the now is the actions that you control to create that, then everything will change. This is when discipline happens, because it's a trade-off that you don't see right away, but in future you get greater returns. This is why I tell you guys, with anything that you do, make sure that you cover all areas. Everyone is so focused on the how, but they're not focused on the who. The who is that person who's consistent, that can do the things that he wants to do regardless of how he feels. That's why getting in shape is the first form of manifestation that you can create, because this is it. You live it. You go to the gym, you hit your macros, you make sure you follow the program, and you go. You don't see the results. You go. You don't see the results. You're suffering, you're investing time, but you're not seeing the results. But guess what? Faith. You think about the actions that you have to do, you validate yourself with the actions, and within time, you get the outcome, the result. So now that you've lived that procedure, it translates to everything. That's why you have to do it with intent. Ever since I learned that, everything started to change, because we are controlled by fear. The fear of what if this happens, what if that happens, suffering in that unnecessary time frame of the future, that it stops us from ever doing anything now. Action is the killer of fear. That's why you always need to go back into action and ask yourself these two very simple things. Can I control this thing? If the answer is no, you forget about it and you go straight into action. And it's crazy because there's going to be so many different things that are going to start to frustrate you. Oh, but what, this bill that's going to come, this future event that's going to happen, or this person. Sometimes life will throw so many things to test you. But once you change your perspective, and I've changed my perspective that everything is not happening against me, everything is happening for me. What can I do? I have the opportunity to overcome these obstacles, and until this obstacle is actually affecting me, I am not going to suffer that same thing twice, because you're going to suffer it when it comes, and if you're going to suffer it now, then you are suffering twice, and it's going to stop you from doing everything that you can do today. The whole point of everything, and this is what I'm going to tell you now, if you've made it this far, I want you to send me a message on Instagram if you've managed to take anything so far from here. But now I'm going to take you to actionable steps to become disciplined. This is the framework, and this is what I fall into every single day. Because you need to understand, again, we as humans, we want that equal trade-off. We think if I do something now I'm disciplined forever. It doesn't work that way. Like anything, you have to pay rent. This physique that you see, I am now in shape because I decided to pay rent daily and maintain my physique. This house where I see is because I pay rent and I decide to keep on going, which is why I stay in this house. You go into work, you get paid because you show up to work. It's a daily thing. The same thing with discipline is a choice that you make every single day. So we think, oh no, I have to gradually build my way up to discipline. I have to gradually become that person. The second you decide and follow through and do the things that you say you're going to do, you become disciplined. You do that again tomorrow, you are now disciplined. You do it again the next day, discipline. It's a compound of days. And this is the framework. So I'm going to show you exactly how I become disciplined and how you can do the same thing. The first thing you need to do is you need to have this desired outcome. And be careful with desired outcomes, because a desire is a contract that you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get that thing that you want. And desires are good, outcomes are good, because now you have a goal to work towards. But the thing is, if you put so much on your plate, then you're going to live in constant frustration until you get to that point. Because when you do, you will not feel that sense of achievement, you will feel that sense of relief. Look back, how many things have you wanted, worked towards, that you finally got them and now you don't even appreciate them, but it was a sense of relief because you worked towards that goal. Having goals are good. So you need to have a set foundation of daily actions that will give you that outcome that you want. And always fall back into the same thing. Can I control this? Yes, take action. If it's not in my control, how can I react to the situation and go straight back into action? Remember what I told you about past, future, and present, because when we ever get that anxiety and we're thinking, remember, you're not in the present, come back to the present, action. Whenever you're in the past, getting depression, what do? You go back into the future, into the present by taking action. These already are two things. These already are two notifications that you are now aware of. The second you start to feel overwhelmed with something, it should be an instant notification that you are not in the present. So you have to now consciously bring yourself back and ask yourself, what can I do right now? This is the thing. When you feel depressed because you're now in the past, notification comes straight into the present. What can I do right now? And this is what I'm going to tell you with the non-negotiables. You need to have non-negotiables. What are non-negotiables? These are things that you can't negotiate. Very simply said, if I will not negotiate this banana, you can offer me anything you want, but this is not negotiable. So it can never be traded. This will be mine regardless of how much money you offer me, because I've already said that this is non-negotiable. The same thing with these steps that you have to take to get to that desired outcome. This is where you need to make a plan. And the number one thing that you have to do is never break your word for you to now achieve these non-negotiables. Never break your word is keeping these promises to yourself. And most of the time, we think that, oh, never breaking your word, I have to do something crazy every single day. Never breaking your word, it simply means that whatever you say you are going to do, you do it regardless of how bad it is going to affect you. You said it. No one told you to say it. But the thing is, most of the time now, everyone uses their words so freely that, actually, let me do this. Let me go to the gym. Actually, nah, I'll just go tomorrow. You have lost trust with yourself. Every time that you say something, you don't end up doing it, you lose trust with yourself. And what are you doing? You are betraying yourself. So whenever you say you're going to do something, you doubt yourself. You don't know, and this is why you enter the time frame of the future of anxiety, because I don't know if it's going to come about. Action is the only thing you can do. Action, action, action. So never break your word. Build that trust. Whatever you say you're going to do, even if it fares badly with you, you said it and you follow through. This is when you have that unbreakable trust with yourself. Now you have these daily non-negotiables that I keep on getting away from. This goal that you want, it has a deductive process to it. So if you say to yourself, I want to have this amazing physique, I want to be strong, I want to be ripped, you want that result, but what you actually want is the actions that have that result. So you say, I want this result, alright, so that means I need to eat right every single day, that means I have to go to the gym every single day, and I need to make sure that my recovery is good. So now you have these actionable steps that you have to do every single day. So now you have to ask yourself, have I eaten right? Yes. Have I gone to the gym? Yes. Have I got my recovery right? Boom. That's the only thing you need to focus on. Then you have done enough. If you start to get overwhelmed, if you get overwhelmed because you haven't got the outcome, you're now trying to validate yourself with that outcome. Now come back to the present and ask yourself, what can I do? Have I done my gym? Yes. Have I done my macros? Yes. And have I done my recovery? Yes. So now you have done everything that you can do. Now those thoughts that are going to come in, those are the uncontrollables. This is the test. This is the part where you have to now condition yourself to react to that situation and don't let that control you. Very simple. Why? Because it's going to make you enter that state of fear. It's going to enter that state of frustration, and it's going to start to tell you, is it worth it? But you're investing all of this time. You might not see it, and then all of these doubts start to come in because now you don't think that you can achieve it. But this is why never breaking your word is super important, because once you have that proof that you can do everything that you say you can, you already know that you're doing the steps to get there. So it's just a matter of time, and you keep on going. And this is with anything that you want to do. I want to reach 1 million followers. So sometimes if I get those thoughts, we are humans. We're going to get these intrusive thoughts. We are going to get that imposter syndrome if we're doing the right thing. But the same thing, we don't validate ourselves with the outcome. We validate ourselves with the daily steps to get that outcome. I ask myself, have I made sure that my content is up to date? Have I made sure that I check the data to make sure that everything's how it's meant to be? Have I optimized my content? Have I engaged with my community? If the answer is yes, I am on that road. I've already put the GPS and I'm driving. Now, whenever these thoughts come in, these intrusive thoughts, when it tells you you're not good enough, you're not going to make it, you're just like everyone else, as long as you've made sure you've done those checks, as long as you're sure that you've done your non-negotiables, now you're driving when there's extreme weather, there's thunderstorm, there's rain, and now these windscreen wipers are just wiping. All you have to focus on is drive. Drive. And you might say to me, yeah, but I don't know. Are you following the GPS? If the answer is yes, then you are on your way, and that's the only thing you have to do. Then the next day comes, then you do the same thing again. It is a very simple framework. The only thing that will ever stop you will be yourself, with your self-imposing thoughts. Who tells you that you're not good enough? Yourself. Who tells you that you can't do it? Yourself. Only you choose to believe them. That's why never breaking your word is so important. Follow these daily non-negotiables and you will be on your way. You just have to believe in yourself. You just have to gain that trust. So make sure you start small when it comes to never breaking your word. Just tell yourself, I'm going to wake up 5 minutes earlier. Whenever that alarm sounds off, you wake up, you haven't broken your word. This is how you build trust. This is what you have to do every single day. This is why life is not a sprint, it is a marathon, and just focus on putting one foot in front of the other. With that being said, if you made it this far in the video, I just want you to send me, put in the comment section below if I managed to help. If you find it beneficial, drop me a DM on Instagram. And if you want to work one-to-one with me, if it comes to creating that person who's consistent, disciplined, have someone that holds you accountable, have someone to speak to once a week, DM me the word ready on Instagram. And if you like this video, love you guys. See you guys in the next one. Peace.